Good morning, students. So, in the previous class, we have completed binding energy and also what is the average binding energy and also binding energy curve we have given. From the binding energy graph, we have discussed about the features, which elements are more stable and which elements are less stable, and from that how we can understand nuclear fission, nuclear fusion concept in the previous class we have discussed. And now we'll go for nuclear forces in this class. But before going nuclear forces, so generally we know average binding energy means energy required to remove one nucleon from the nucleus. That is called average binding energy or specific binding energy. Similarly, mass defect means if in a nucleus, for example, oxygen, there are 16 nucleons. To form all the 16 nucleons, so generally something mass defect is there. So the difference of the mass between nucleons and also real mass of the nucleus, that mass will be converted into energy that will keep all the nucleons inside the nucleus. For example, for oxygen nucleus, total 16 nucleons are there. For 16 nucleons, approximately 8 grams is there, for example, or 8 AMU mass defect. For one nucleon, how much is there means? For total 16 nucleons, there will be 8 AMU. For one nucleon, what is the value means? 8 by 16, that is called 0.5. So that can be called packing fraction, but actually not necessary. But what is a packing fraction means? Sometimes 1 mark question may be asked, or in competitive exams also, packing fraction. So it is nothing but mass defect per one nucleon. For all the nucleons, there will be something mass defect. For example, in a nucleus there are total A number of nucleons. Protons plus neutrons equal to A. For all the A nucleons, mass defect is equal to delta M. Means mass of the nucleons minus mass of the nucleus. For A nucleons, mass defect equal to delta M means for one nucleon, what is the mass defect? For A nucleons, it is equal to delta M. For one nucleon means take this A right side, it become delta M by A should write. So that can be called as a packing fraction. So mass defect per nucleon. We can write the definition. Mass defect per nucleon. Mass defect per nucleon is called packing fraction. Mass defect per nucleon is called a packing fraction. So we can write simple formula. Packing fraction is equal to mass defect by mass number. So we can write here F is equal to mass defect, write a symbol delta M divided by mass number is equal to A, should write. Packing fraction F is equal to delta M by A. Or we can also write another formula, F is equal to M minus A divided by A, we can write. Here M minus A also nothing but mass defect only. Difference between the mass of the nucleons and mass of the nucleus divided by mass number also write. So here M minus A we are writing means A mass number of nucleons or mass of the nucleons. It is the real mass of the nucleus. If you subtract both, the numerator value may be positive, negative or 0. Whenever mass of the nucleus, mass of the nucleons both are equal, will get 0. Whenever M value is more than A, will get a positive value. When M is less than A, will get negative value. So packing fraction may be positive or negative. Packing fraction may be positive or negative. It may be plus or minus. So generally, or it may be 0 also. 0 means that is a stable element. For example, if take carbon, almost mass of the nucleons, real mass of the nucleus both are equal, so we'll get 0. So 0 packing fraction indicates that is a most stable element, and we can compare remaining all the elements with the carbon also. For example, positive packing fraction indicates positive F represents the elements are less stable, the nuclei are less stable. So theory question is important. What does positive packing fraction indicates the whatever the nuclei given, they are less stable, they are having less stability. And the negative packing fraction indicates the elements are or the nuclei are more stable. So in this case, which elements are generally less stable means we can write the mass number less than 20, around more than 200 we can write. Generally elements with the mass number A less than 20 and mass number A greater than 200, for this type of elements positive packing fraction F will be, F is positive. Roughly you can take the nuclei with the mass number less than 20 means hydrogen, helium, lithium, beryllium, boron, and also carbon, nitrogen, oxygen, fluorine, neon elements. And more than 200 mass number, uranium, plutonium, thorium, neptunium, radium, such type of elements are nothing but positive packing will be having plus. So plus means they are less stable elements. Next, the elements with the packing fraction minus means A between 20 and 200. So A value lies between 20 and 200. So they are having a positive packing fraction, they are having a negative packing fraction. F will be minus. So the elements nothing but intermediate mass number. Intermediate mass number means like iron, nickel, cobalt, oxygen, xenon, molybdenum, and also tungsten, gold, silver, iodine, barium, krypton. This type of all the elements you may take. They are having the numbers between 20 and 200, and they are having negative packing fraction. So we can say they are more stable. So from this we can understand what is the packing fraction and what is the value. For example, if take carbon C612, almost mass of the carbon nucleus and mass of the nucleons both are equal. Whenever both are equal, if you subtract both, you will get 0. 0 by something is equal to 0. Then a packing fraction of the carbon we can take 0. So that indicates it is a stable element. So we can compare the remaining elements with the carbon. So how the packing fraction will be changes also. That is about packing fraction. Now we'll discuss about nuclear forces. In the first PUC also we have some basic forces in the nature, like gravitational force, electrostatic or electromagnetic force, and also strong nuclear and weak nuclear forces we have given. So what are nuclear forces and what are the characteristics or properties of the nuclear forces? Nuclear forces. Generally, if you consider any one nucleus, whatever the nucleus you may consider, it contains generally protons and also neutrons. It is a nucleus I am choosing, and a nucleus having a spherical shape with a size 10 to the power of minus 15 meter around, equal to 1 Fermi. For example, this nucleus contains a large number of the protons, not large number generally, Z protons and also A minus Z neutrons. So these are the protons, neutrons, and also protons. We can take like this. So it contains protons and neutrons. But generally, if you consider why the protons and neutrons are inside the nucleus, so it must be having something attraction, correct? So whenever proton neutron or proton proton or neutron neutron, whenever they are attracted, automatically they must be inside the nucleus. So they will not come outside. For example, any attraction not there, then what will be happen? They cannot keep inside the nucleus, they will come outside, and automatically the total structure will be collapsed. There will be no nucleus and no atom. But why the protons and neutrons are inside the nucleus? Before proposing nuclear forces, we know two type of forces. One is a gravitational. Just we think there is a gravitational force. First we assume. So generally where the gravitational force will work or act? In the universe, any two bodies you may take, any two masses, any two particles, so there will be a gravitational force. So gravitational force must act between proton proton, proton neutron, and also neutron neutron, correct? So we know already gravitational force formula also, F is equal to G into m1 m2 by r square or d square, and formula is there. In the first year universal law of gravitation formula is there. So F is proportional to 1 by r square. F is proportional to 1 by r square. F is proportional to m1 m2. But the mass of the proton, mass of the neutron, nothing but 10 to the power of minus 27 into 10 to the power of minus 27. G value 6.67 into 10 power minus 11. Is there? So means minus 27 minus 27 minus 54. Minus 54 minus 11 is equal to minus 65. Minus 65 means negligible. Very, very small. So generally gravitational force between any two nucleons may take proton protona, neutron neutron, or proton neutron, it is negligible, very, very small. But there is another force called electromagnetic force or electrostatic force. Electromagnetic force also one of the basic or fundamental force. We know the formula, or electrostatic force we can write F is equal to 1 by 4 pi epsilon naught into Q1 Q2 by R square. Is there a Coulomb's inverse square law? It is a gravitational force. It is equal to electrostatic or electromagnetic force. So generally electromagnetic or electrostatic force only acting between two charged particles. Correct? Here Q1 Q2 both are charges. In this nucleus, what are the charged particles? Only protons, but neutrons are neutral. So clearly between the neutron there is no electrostatic force. Between the proton neutron also there is no electrostatic force, correct? And only between the proton there is an electrostatic force. So generally electrostatic force and gravitational force, if you compare both, F gravitational is to F electromagnetic is equal to 1 is to 10 to the power of 36. Observe and understand carefully. Which one is stronger? Gravitational force, for example, 1 Newton is there, 1 time is there, but electromagnetic is equal to 10 power 36 times stronger, not 36, 10 to the power of 36. After 10 you should write 36 zeros, so that much stronger. So when comparing to electromagnetic or electrostatic force, so gravitational force is negligible. While discussing in the nuclear chapter, or while discussing about the nuclear forces or nucleus concept, so we can neglect what kind of force? Gravitational force we can neglect. So because it is a negligible, very, very small comparing to electromagnetic, clearly, so we can neglect gravitational force. That is clear. Now what type of force is there? Only electromagnetic or electrostatic. So generally electrostatic force according to Coulomb, like charges will always repel and unlike charges will attract. But here between neutron no electrostatic. So clearly between neutron no electrostatic. Between the proton neutron, is there electrostatic or not? Not, because proton is a charged particle, but neutron is zero charge. We should write Q1 is equal to charge we can write, but Q2 0, neutron also 0. Here also no electrostatic force. But only between the proton there is a force. Both are charged particles, and what kind of charge? Proton plus, next proton also plus, like charges will always repel. So between these two there is an electrostatic, what kind of force? Repulsive force, correct? So according to the general view, inside the nucleus there are protons and neutrons. Among the protons and the neutrons there will be gravitational force, but it is a negligible, we can neglect. And there is electromagnetic force, it is acting only between the proton, not between the neutron and the proton. So it is a repulsive force. But generally what is the function of the repulsive force? It will push all the protons away, aside, because of repulsion. So because of this repulsive force, the protons should come outside. How much stronger means F is proportional to 1 by r square. Between the proton almost the distance of separation is equal to 10 power minus 15 meter. Very small. Very small means force will be very strong. With a strong repulsive force, whenever the protons are repelled, they should come outside. Once if they came outside, the total nucleus will be collapsed. But it is not happening. Why the nucleus is not collapsing? Why the atom is also having a perfect structure means by overcoming a repulsive force, something is acting here. So for example, repulsive force is equal to 100 Newton is there. For example, with 100 Newton, all the protons and protons are repelling like this. But more than 100, for example, so for example, 200 Newton force is attracting all the protons and neutrons. Then what will happen? They will not come outside. So by overcome the electrostatic force, something attraction is acting inside the nucleus. So that force can be called as nuclear forces. So nuclear forces are nothing but the forces which are acting among the nucleons, and which keep them inside the nucleus. So that is only called as nuclear force. So you can write what are the nuclear forces means the forces acting among the nucleons, forces acting among the nucleons inside the nucleus, forces acting among the nucleons inside the nucleus are called nuclear forces. Forces acting among the nucleons inside the nucleus are called nuclear forces. And one more point. So there are three basic forces in the nature. There are three basic forces in the nature. There are three basic forces in the nature. First one, gravitational force. There are three basic forces in the nature. First one, gravitational force. Second, electromagnetic force. And the third one, nuclear force. Next point, comparing to electromagnetic and nuclear forces. The strength of gravitational force is very small or very less. The strength of the gravitational force is very less or very small. The strength of gravitational force is very small. Hence we can neglect gravitational force, or hence we can neglect it. Among the nucleons. Now, properties of nuclear forces. What are the basic properties? We'll discuss. Characteristics are properties of nuclear forces. Sometimes it may be asked for 3 marks question or 2 marks also. If it is asked 2 marks question, at least you should write 2 properties. If a 3 marks question asked, write any 3 properties. So if a 5 marks asked means at least 5 points you have to choose and you have to explain the properties also. So we'll write first property. So among all the basic forces, which is the strongest force? Gravitational, one time, for example, electromagnetic is nothing but 10 power 36 times stronger. But comparing the electromagnetic, nuclear force is 100 times stronger. So among all the basic forces, which is the strongest means nuclear force only. So it is a strongest force. So nuclear force is nuclear force is the strongest force in the nature. So gravitational force acting among the bodies generally, but it is strength will be very less, and electromagnetic force acting among the charged particles, but the strength will be medium, but more than gravitational, less than nuclear force. But a nuclear force acting among the nucleons, proton proton, proton neutron, neutron neutron, it is the strongest force, stronger than electromagnetic and also stronger than gravitational force. If you compare that ratio, we can write here F, or in the next line, right? F gravitational east, F electromagnetic east, F nuclear is equal to 1 is to 10 to the power of 36 is to 10 to the power of 38. Check how much stronger it is. Comparing to electrostatic, it is a 10 power 38 times stronger. Comparing to electromagnetic, comparing to gravitational, 10 power 38 times stronger. Comparing to electromagnetic, not 2 times. 10 power 36, 10 power 38 difference, 10 square means 100. So comparing this one, 100 times stronger. So it is one of the strongest force. Second, generally gravitational force can act up to infinite distance. Gravitational force acting between the sun and earth, moon and earth, among the stars and earth also, it is a very long range force. And electrostatic force acting between the charged particles, even if you are placing two charged particles at 1 meter, 10 meter, 100 meter, 1 kilometer also it will act. Whereas nuclear force may not act up to larger distances, it will act only around 10 to the power of minus 15 meter only. So nearly inside the nucleus only nuclear force will act. Once if we came outside the nucleus, there will be no nuclear force. That's why we can say these are short range forces. Right, next point. Nuclear forces are short range forces. Nuclear forces are short range forces. Nuclear forces are short range forces. So short range means we can say they are acting among the nucleons up to 10 to the power of minus 15 meter, not very large distances. They act up to 10 power minus 15 meters only. They are acting within the nucleus about 10 to the power of minus 15 meter. They are acting within the nucleus about 10 to the power of minus 15 meter. That's approximately the size of the nucleus. It is only size of the nucleus, 10 power minus 15 meter. One more point we can write. So nuclear forces inside the nucleus only nuclear forces are acting among the nucleons. But here proton is having a charge, but a neutron no charge. Proton neutron also, one is charged, one is uncharged. But even though no charge, among the neutrons also nuclear force acting. That indicates what? Between the proton there is a nuclear force. Between the between the neutron also nuclear force. Between the proton and neutron also nuclear force. What does it indicate? Nuclear force does not depends upon charge of the particle. So these two are charged, there is a nuclear force. But these two are neutral, also there is a nuclear force. Here one neutral and one charged particle, also there is a nuclear force. From all these, what we can conclude? Nuclear force independent of the charge of the particle, does not depends upon the charge. Okay, right? Nuclear force is independent of the charge. Nuclear forces are independent of charge. Nuclear forces are charge independent or independent of charge. That is the act between proton, the act between proton, comma, neutron, act between a proton proton, neutron neutron, and a proton neutron, and a proton neutron. In complete exams, one interesting question they are asking. So around the question may be 3 lines, nearly 3 to 4 lines. But a similar question by changing a one word, they are asking a 2 type of questions in NEET or JEE level questions. What type of question means? So check here. For example, inside the nucleus there are nuclear forces. The nuclear force between the proton is FPP. Nuclear force, correct? Nuclear force between proton is FPP. Nuclear force between the neutron is FNN. And nuclear force between the proton and the neutron is FPN. Then which of the following is correct? Which of the following option is correct? What they are asking means first option we can write equal to. Second option, F proton is greater than F neutron is greater than F proton neutron. Next, third one, F proton is less than F neutron is less than F proton neutron. Fourth one, F proton is less than F neutron equal to F proton neutron. These are the 4 options. So very important 2 questions. But for both the questions, options will be same. Option same, but just one word only different. Check here. Inside the nucleus, there is a nuclear force between the proton, that is FPP. Between the neutron, nuclear force is FNN. Between the proton, nuclear force is FPN. Then which of the following option is correct? So we are using the word, what kind of force? Nuclear force. I am using the word nuclear force. Now what does the third point saying? Nuclear force does not depend upon charge. So it does not depend upon charge means which option correct? First option, because all the values are same only. So between the proton, whatever the value is there, for example 10 Newton, neutron also 10 Newton, and proton neutron also 10 Newton. So option 1 is correct. Same question, same question, check here. FPP is the force, net force. The word nuclear place they are giving another word as a net force. It is also important question in NEET or JEE level. FPP is the net force between proton. FNN is the net force between neutron. FPN is the net force between the proton neutron. Then which of the following option is correct? Observe these 2 words. First question they are giving a nuclear force, but second question they are not asking nuclear force, net force. Then which option correct? So what is the difference between the nuclear force and the net force or resultant force? Net force means only single force we have to consider. Nuclear force, it is attractive force. There will be no question. So first option correct. But net force means you have to consider all the forces acting among the nucleons. What are all the forces acting? Gravitational, electromagnetic, and also nuclear. But already I said gravitational force we can neglect. Correct? Only we have to consider electromagnetic and also nuclear. But here electromagnetic force only acting among charged particles, proton. So clearly, for example, I am choosing a FPP. Correct? FPP means nothing but between the proton and proton. Between the proton and proton, 2 type of force I can consider. One is a nuclear force, one is electrostatic force. For example, nuclear force is equal to 10 Newton. Electrostatic force is equal to repulsive force, that is minus 5 Newton. Then total is equal to 5 Newton. It is a nuclear force, it is a repulsive force. Now I'll choose neutron. Nuclear force same, 10 Newton. Among all the nucleons, nuclear force constant. But what about electrostatic repulsive force? Between the neutron, both are chargeless particles. That's why no repulsive force, equal to should write 10 Newton. Next, FPN, between the proton and neutron, nuclear force same, 10 Newton, no question. But what about electrostatic force? 0, because the neutron is a chargeless particle. So no force, that's why it is equal to 0. Then 10 minus 0 equal to 10 you should write. Now check here, first value is equal to 5, second value 10, third value also equal 10. Second, third both are equal, but the first value is less than the second and third. Now check which option correct. Fourth one correct only. So depending upon the question, we have to choose the answer. Both the questions around 4 to 5 lines, and both the questions are having the same options. But while reading the question, if you forgot to remember the words, the total meaning will be changes, and option also will put wrong option. That's why nuclear force given means the first option correct. Net force given means last option correct. That's only. So that is a third property. Nuclear forces are independent of charges. Now we'll go for fourth property. Generally, gravitational force and electrostatic force are acting center of the first body to center of the second body. For example, if we'll choose it is one object having mass m1, it is second object having a mass is equal to m2, like one piece of chalk and dust I am taking. Between these two there is a gravitational force. Where to where gravitational force acting? Center of mass of the first body to the center of mass of the second body. If you are joining the line, it is always acting along the line joining the centers of the two bodies. That's why gravitational force and electrostatic force are central forces, whereas nuclear force not like that. It is for example one nucleus, it is second nucleus. If you keep both are very closer, how it will be acting means among all the nucleons the nuclear force are acting like this. That's why fourth point we can say nuclear forces are non-central forces. Nuclear forces are non-central forces. Nuclear forces are non-central forces. So that is they do not act along, that is they do not act along the line joining, they do not act along the line joining the centers of two nuclei. They do not act along the line joining the centers of two nuclei. One more point. Generally, nuclear forces does not obey inverse square law, but generally gravitational force will obey inverse square law. F is proportional to 1 by r square, and electrostatic force also will obey inverse square law according to Coulomb. F is proportional to 1 by r square, but nuclear force do not obey inverse square law. For example, I am choosing two nucleons. Whenever both are separated by a distance around 0.5 Fermi to up to 10 Fermi, nearly 0.5 to 10. So 0.5 into 10 power minus 15, 10 into 10 power minus 15 approximately. Between these 2 points, the nuclear forces will attract each other. If you take one proton, one neutron, both will attract each other, or one neutron will attract each other. Whenever the force between the two nucleons is less than 0.5 Fermi, then what will be happen? They do not attract each other. Instead of attracting, they will repel each other. When I am taking two nucleons more than 10 Fermi, then what will be happen generally? According to inverse square law, we can expect both the force will be decreases, but your force will not decrease. The total force becomes 0. Understand? So once if you take the two nucleons outside the nucleus, there will be no nuclear force. And whenever if take two nucleons between 0.5 to 10 Fermi, and the nuclear forces will be attractive forces. When we are taking two nucleons very closer, less than 0.8 or 0.5 Fermi, and both will be repelled. So that's why they do not obey inverse square law. That we can write fifth point. Nuclear forces do not obey Nuclear forces do not obey inverse square law. Nuclear forces do not obey inverse square law. Nuclear forces do not obey inverse square law. That is, when two nucleons are at a separation, when two nucleons are at a separation of 0.5 Fermi to 0.5 Fermi to 0.5 Fermi to 10 Fermi, in bracket, right, nearly 0.5 Fermi to 10 Fermi, they are attractive forces. Attractive forces. Attractive forces. Next, one more point. When two nucleons are at a separation, when two nucleons are at a separation of a separation greater than 10 Fermi, at a separation greater than 10 Fermi, the nuclear forces were absent. Nuclear forces were absent. Nuclear forces were absent. One more point. Nuclear forces are next, not next point, in this only. Nuclear forces are strong repulsive forces or hardcore repulsive forces. Strong repulsive forces. Strong repulsive forces when the distance between two nucleons, when the distance between two nucleons is less than 0.5 Fermi. Distance between the two nucleons is less than 0.5 Fermi. So roughly from all these points, what we can understand, nuclear forces are not changes according to inverse square law. So they do not obey inverse square law, they do not follow inverse square law. When less than 0.5 Fermi, there are strong repulsive forces. 0.5 to 10 Fermi, they are attractive forces. More than 10 Fermi, they are completely absent. There will be no nuclear forces. That is a fifth point. Sixth point, we can say nuclear forces depends upon what factor means spin. So inside the nucleus there are two type of nucleons, protons and neutrons, but both are not at rest. So earlier already we discussed the spin of the nucleus. So there are two type of motions, rotational motion and also spin motion. So because of the rotational motion they are having some magnetic momentum and also angular momentum. Because of the rotational motion also they are having so two type of momenta. The total magnetic momentum means is equal to sum of the orbital angular momentum and also spin angular momentum. Same model, spin magnetic momentum. Total angular momentum means how to write? Total angular momentum of the, don't write, nucleons is equal to orbital angular momentum plus spin angular momentum. So earlier already I have given this one. If you add both, it is equal total angular momentum, which is also called as nuclear spin, we can write, or it is equal to total angular momentum. Total magnetic momentum is equal to nothing but orbital magnetic momentum plus it is equal to spin magnetic momentum. So this can be taken as nuclear magneton, which is also called as nuclear spin. So inside the nucleons there are two type of motions, and because of the motions they are having some spin also. But here if two nucleons are having a similar rotation like this, for example both are rotating anti-clockwise. Whenever both are rotating anti-clockwise means we can say, for example, both will be like this. Both are having parallel spin. If two nucleons are having a similar kind of a spin, then we can say it is a parallel spin. If one nucleon is rotating clockwise and anti-clock, one is clockwise, then both are having anti-parallel, opposite. So we can say F, I am writing like this. Check the arrow marks. It is equal to the two nucleons having a parallel spin. Here two nucleons having anti-parallel spin. Generally, the nuclear force between the two nucleons with a parallel spin is always greater than the nucleons having a anti-parallel spin. So we can say the nuclear force also depends upon spin of the nucleons. We can write sixth point as nuclear forces depends upon nuclear forces depends upon spin of the nucleons. Nuclear forces depends upon spin of the nucleons. Spin of the nucleons. That is the nuclear force between, that is the nuclear force between two nucleons. Nuclear force between two nucleons having a parallel spin. Nuclear force between two nucleons having a parallel spin is greater than the nuclear force between two nucleons having anti-parallel spin. Anti-parallel spin. That's about the spin independent. One more point we can write. So it is for example a nucleus. There are large number of the protons and neutrons like this, means Z protons and A minus Z neutrons are present inside the nucleus, but all are held together only because of the nuclear forces we are saying. And here there are short range forces, means almost all the nucleons are inside the nucleus, means only around 10 to the power of minus 15 meter only distance, also like this. But one nucleon cannot attract all the nucleons directly. That's very important. For example, here I am choosing one proton or one neutron. So this proton directly cannot attract all the protons and neutrons around it. But one nucleon can attract only the nucleons around it like this. If you draw one sphere like this. So inside the sphere there are some of the protons and neutrons. So this proton or neutron can attract only the nucleons within this sphere. Once if you go for example outside, this cannot attract this nucleon. This nucleon cannot attract this last nucleon. But how they will be attracted? Directly there will be no physical interaction between these two. But here if you choose for example this nucleon, so this can attract the nucleons around it like this. So this will be attracted here like this, correct? And for example I am choosing here one more nucleon, so this nucleon will be attracted like this. So that means inside the nucleus one nucleon can attract only the neighboring nucleons. Here these two are having interaction, indirectly they are also having interaction. So one nucleon cannot attract all the nucleons, only it can attract the neighboring nucleons with a strong force. That's why the nuclear forces are acting maximum forces among the nucleons. That's why they can be called saturation forces. One more, seventh point, nuclear forces are saturation forces. Nuclear forces are saturation forces. If one nucleon is attracting all the nucleons, means by the time we are going to the last nucleon, the force may be decreases, but here not like that. Nuclear forces are saturation forces. That is a one nucleon. That is a one nucleon can attract. One nucleon can attract strongly. One nucleon can attract strongly the neighboring nucleons. One nucleon can attract strongly the neighboring nucleons. Strongly the neighboring nucleons. Strongly the neighboring nucleons. And the last point, you can write one more. One nucleon can attract strongly the neighboring nucleons. One more point I'll give, last point. Generally, inside the nucleus, what is the reason for the nuclear forces? So why nuclear forces are present between the proton, proton, neutron, neutron, proton, neutron means one Japan scientist, Yukawa, is a Japan scientist only, Yukawa. He has given one theory. So what theory means? He has given a meson theory. Meson concept given. It is a sum of the particles only. So new particles were introduced by the scientist Yukawa. So meson is a charged particles, charged and neutral, both present. So these are nothing but the pi mesons. There are three type of mesons. One is a pi plus, one is a pi minus, one is a pi neutral. Three type of mesons: pi plus, pi minus. These two are charged mesons, but it is a neutral meson. But charged mesons are all, but both are always having the mass between the electron and the proton. The mass of the mesons having mass of the mesons having lies between the proton and neutron. They are nothing but intermediate. The word meson indicates intermediate. Intermediate means not more than proton, not less than electron. Their mass will be between the proton and electron. And pi plus and pi minus having around mass 274 times the mass of the electron, and this will be around 260 times the mass of the electron. But these two are having a positive charge, and this will be having a negative charge. So according to Yukawa, inside the nucleus not only protons and neutrons are present, so there is a charged cloud of the mesons present like this around the nucleons. Whatever I am shading here, that we have to imagine there is a charged meson cloud is present among the nucleons. Here for example, what is the reason for the proton-proton force means between the proton-proton? So these charged mesons are always exchanging like this. So it can attract one pi plus meson, and again it can release one pi minus meson like this. And between the proton and neutron also, the mesons are exchanging like this. Here also neutron and neutron, pi neutral will be exchanging like this. So they are attracting and also releasing. And because of this reason, the nuclear forces are present. So what is the reason for the nuclear force inside the nucleus means? Only because of the exchange of the mesons. That is only reason. That's why we can say nuclear force are what kind of forces? Exchange forces. We can write 8th point. Nuclear forces are exchange forces. Nuclear forces are exchange forces. Nuclear forces are exchange forces. That is among the nucleons, mesons, M-E-S-O-N-S, mesons are exchanging. That is among the nucleons, mesons are exchanging inside the nucleus. Mesons are exchanging among the nucleons. Due to this, nuclear forces are arised. Due to this, nuclear forces are arised. So these are all properties of the nuclear forces. 8 properties given, but at least for 5 marks question means remember or read five important points. If 3 marks asked, so no need of any explanation, only write 3 points. If 2 marks asked, write any 2 properties of the nuclear forces. Simple, any 2 forces, they are short range forces, they are strongest forces. Enough. This type of you should write. So for tomorrow class we'll go for next concept, nuclear fusion concept will go, and practice these important points. Okay, thank you.